Okay, so here I am coming up to the Owatonna airport, south of Minneapolis, St. Paul. I left Oshkosh 2014 this morning and kind of headed back to Florida, but I'm swinging by to check on the progress of my Sikorsky S-38. Here's the airport entrance, a couple of T-38s, and Brent Langer's been working on the airplane since we shipped it back from Amsterdam. He was one of the original builders here. There's the Owatonna Regional Airport, and Brent's hangar, I believe, is right up here. Langer Aviation. It's been a year since I've been here, so I'm kind of excited to see what the progress is. And the plan is to have the airplane covered, the new engines back from overhaul, all installed, get it flying, and basically take it to Oshkosh next year. That's what I want to do. So, alrighty, let's see what Brent's been up to. Brent, what's happening? Oh my God, that is a giant wing. Oh my God, I didn't realize how big it was. What's happening? Good to see you.
Waldo Anderson.
Hey, well, it's a pleasure. Oh my God, this is so cool. I am excited. Oh my God, I actually did not expect to see this. This is awesome. Oh my God, big time perspective. So, oh my God, that's big. Oh God, I was comparing this to the S-39. Oh my God, no kidding. So, okay, so what's been happening?
Mostly been concentrating efforts on the center section, tail boom,
okay.
tail area.
Yeah, let me go down and check this out. Yeah, you can really see it here. Oh my God, yeah. So that all looks like it's been completely gone through, and
every piece was completely cleaned, stripped, and repainted. The spars and compression members, I hauled them to a guy that does solar blasting.
Yeah, awesome.
And then washed everything down with an acid etch and reprimed it with epoxy. And the skins, belly skins, those were just chemical stripped and redone. All the ribs are all repaired and riveted back on. The tail booms also went over to Rushford and had solar blasting.
Uh-huh. And these were some of the original pieces, and the wing was original.
Yep, the two tail booms are original, and the wing spars and compression members of the center section are all original as well. So they all cleaned up really nice.
God.
The tail booms are ready for cover. Just using them to kind of do the final fit on wing ribs and stuff like that.
Uh-huh. Huh.
A few improvements. We had some issues with...
Yeah, let me come over here.
When we put the airplane together the first time, we never assembled it like this on the floor. We
right.
just kind of built it in separate areas,
yeah.
And then just put it on the airplane. And then when we did that, there's a gap seal that covers this area. Everything in that area was really crude.
Really?
And
so you're just kind of doing it right this time.
Right.
Is there a reason why the leading edge doesn't match? Or?
That was one of the reasons why it was kind of goofy. This rib I built new this time. There's no holes drilled in it yet, so I can tweak that up.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool. And plus, you've got this piece to do it with.
Right.
Yeah, cool.
Redoing a lot of those little fit and finish areas that were just really quickly done last time.
So the so then the God, the center section looks. I mean, it looks brand new. And so what's the plan for the outer ones here? Just to basically they look good, kind of just scuff them up and paint them, or?
Well, that's kind of what we did the last time. We inspected them and just hit them with some epoxy, and then put new leading edge skins at that time.
Right.
And then a lot of the trailing edges were corroded away, so they were spliced in and repaired and made airworthy and everything.
Now, when you said the last time,
when we built it for Buzz and Tom. So these were,
Oh, oh yeah, because they weren't built from scratch.
right, these were original
Yeah.
wings, and so we inspected them and did a kind of a quick restoration of it when Buzz and Tom had it done. So it could be done one of two ways. We could inspect it again and cover it up and everything will be airworthy, or take the time to make it look nice and new like that.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, because I know we got to get covering here pretty soon, or at least finish up some of that stuff, like next spring or something. So
Right.
I tell you what, I mean, so if you were going to do that, what you would do here would basically, you'd have to take these off, or just leave these, and just take the whole thing out, take these out, or leave those in and just...
Basically disassemble the entire wing. To get those out, you would take the leading edges off, slide the ribs off the end of the spars, kind of same as you did this.
Okay.
So it's going to be a big to do. Kind of what my plan is here is to, this summer and fall, before the cold sets in again, get this center section, tail booms, and tail done.
Okay.
That way,
Is the only fabric on the trailing edge on this? This is all covered with sheet metal?
actually the fabric goes all the way from here, it's glued here, goes all the way around and comes around. And glues to there.
So this whole thing gets covered then?
This will actually have 2 layers of fabric. One thing that we've done lately is to just cover the leading edges with fabric.
Right.
It helps smooth out little areas, and it gives
Right.
the main fabric good adhesion too. So we'll cover that, and then put the actual wing covering fabric over the top of that. So
I tell you what, just as a consideration, because I wasn't here when the fabric came off, but one of the things we found on the duck is where it's in the prop wash and where the spray comes up, if there's any places where the fabric was absolutely just really beat, like in the prop wash or something, I don't know. I think this thing puts up a lot of spray when it takes off.
yeah.
But I don't know how much is that. It's just water, or it actually beats up the fabric. We would have tapes lifting and stuff, and what we ended up doing is we'd put one cover coat on, and then instead of doing tapes, we would just recover the thing after we rib stitched it.
Double covered it,
Yeah, double covered it. So I don't know if that would be something that you'd want to do here or not. But
on the upper wing, I don't think you're going to see much water on the upper wing.
Okay.
We didn't have any water on the upper wing.
really,
when we flew it.
oh, but there are. That's right. This was kind of like a little, not a Sesquaplane, but it's almost a biplane, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got a little wing that comes out the bottom. The S-39 doesn't, but there's a. Where's
the
it?
bottom?
Oh, it comes out here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bottom wings are still in the back over there, but they were the ones that took the brunt of the
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we might think about doing that on those.
Yeah.
If they were beat up enough.
The problem with these areas on the center section, with all the prop blast and then the engine vibration that they had for a while without knowing it,
Right.
the fabric took a pretty good beating right behind the engines, and it started lifting tapes and stuff to
Yeah, okay.
repair. But this time around, things are going to be a little more finished.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick last time.
And some of this is you put some thicker metal on. People walked on this. And
Yeah, put some extra stiffeners and stuff on the ribs and stuff like that.
Cool.
Stiffen that. I didn't count them, but there's probably in the neighborhood of 100 repairs on the ribs.
Really?
In this area. So just a lot of broken cap strips, little clips where the rib ties hook together.
Hmm.
Just a lot of wear and tear from vibration and people.
Okay, so getting back to the wing here, what would it take to clean these up and blast them and make it look like that? I mean, have we got time?
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking is the rest of this summer and this fall, we can get the center section and tail booms and tail covered back so it's ready to go on the plane.
Right.
Then
These you can do in the spring.
they could be done in the spring.
But you could blast them and paint them this winter.
Right.
Right.
So the guy that does the blasting, he's kind of seasonal, so if we were going to do it, we'd have to probably get to taking them apart right away.
Right.
So that he could get them blasted and I could get them back here and get them painted so that over the winter time we could be reassembling them ready for cover in the spring.
Right.
And then in the springtime actually do the cover on that. Hopefully over the winter time we'll have enough time to get the center section and tail back up on the airplane.
Yeah.
And then, because that's where all the work, majority of the work is going to be for routing.
Yeah,
all the engine
exactly.
controls and, cables, everything is all in that center section. So
Huh.
if we had that able to go back up by winter, and I think I'd feel very confident that we would make the Oshkosh next year with it.
Cool. Yeah, because what I'm thinking of is at some point I may, as it starts winding down, I may want to come up here and spend some time with you, you know, before it's in the final phases, before it test flies or whatever. And instead of just like, hey Kermit, come pick it up, go to Oshkosh, I mean, I'd really almost want to be here like the last part of June and be doing test flying and tweaking and certainly before July, so I had plenty of time. And if everything goes good, you know, basically go off, maybe do a couple of air shows up in the Midwest, do Oshkosh, and then take it home.
Right. Yeah, and Waldo could fly with you.
Yeah. Well, man, it's just got one extra throttle. I'm just gonna, you know, it's a big S-39. Yeah, I mean, if you think you can pull this off, I'd say go for it. Yeah, I would.
There was really only one area on here that I was kind of questioning, and we were going to clean it up good anyway to look at it. And that was the bottom rail on the rear spar. There's just a little bit of I don't know if it's corrosion or
yeah.
Huh. It's been together since late 20s, so you just don't know.
Yeah, I'd say go for it. We've got the opportunity. I'm always one for doing things as right as we can. Yeah, so would you like drill some of these things off here and?
Yep. Well, all the rib rivets will be out.
Oh yeah, and they would actually all come off.
Yep. Everything will be off.
So would they soda blast them independently and then put them back on?
The ribs.
Yeah, they'd be.
The ribs, we'd have to try one and see how it went, because the blasting process is kind of aggressive.
Right.
So some of the thinner gauge aluminum, sometimes you can get deformed in that.
Yeah.
But I've actually got, right now that over there, I dropped off the lids that hold the fuel tanks down.
Right.
They were all painted orange and a lot of repairs and things done over the years, so I just wanted them back to bare aluminum.
Yeah.
And then we'll build them back at that point.
Let's do it right.
So
just plan on doing it right.
They're if you can get the paint off of those, that thickness of that aluminum is basically the same as these ribs. So he'd be able to do these too if those panels turn out good.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is, you know, you can adjust the pressure, you can adjust the density of the soda that's in the water, and you know.
So what I could do would be when I go to pick up those lids and that, I can talk to him also and see what he thinks about the ribs. I know for sure he can do these spars and compression members. That's no question.
I'd say go for it. What are these little cracks here? They're actually, I mean, I see you replaced it, but it's actually notched.
That was actually a repair that was done the first go around, and what it was this.
Oh, the first go around. You mean from when it was a new or a brand new wing that went on this? Or an old wing, I mean.
It was actually, that repair was done when Buzz had us restore it in 2000.
Huh.
So what it was the back edge of this wing had a lot of corrosion in the trailing edge and on the ribs.
Yeah.
So we basically just cut what was left, cut it off, and made some new extensions and a new trailing edge.
Oh, okay. Good.
So, and it works just fine. It hasn't given me any trouble over the years. So.
Just can't believe how big this thing is. Oh my God. So, okay, so well then I guess that begs the question, what do you do with this? Of course, this was all new.
This is all brand new. So
yeah, so this just needs to be cleaned up, and are you going to repaint it, or?
Well, what I'd like to do is
hit it with a brush?
Not quite sure yet. I think we're going to replace some of these rivets. They ground them down, thinking it would be a little smoother looking. Again, that was quick to get it done. And so I'd like to replace a few of the rivets that are a little too short, and then probably take it in the booth and maybe mask off the leading edge and just clean it up and, you know, bring everything back to good looking again.
When you say in the booth?
In the paint booth.
Oh, in the paint booth, yeah, not like a blasting booth.
No.
Okay. So basically just spraying the whole thing over.
Yeah. This thing, being it was brand new in 2000.
Yeah.
And after looking it over, there's no corrosion issues or
there was
issues or anything.
Good.
I think it would be kind of wasted time and money
to
take it all the way apart and clean.
Yeah, no, great.
So
how about the verticals and rudders and control surfaces?
The ailerons were original control surfaces that we repaired. Those are still in good shape.
Okay.
The elevator which is this one, was all built brand new, so that's
Okay.
ready to cover.
So these basically are just going to be like the tail. You're just going to stick them back in the booth and spray them
Touch
up.
them up a little bit.
Touch
and
them
then
up.
cover 'em. Yep.
Huh.
Yep. And
Same
we're-
thing with the verticals and the rudders.
Yep.
Cool.
There's a couple little things like areas where the fabric glued to some plates on the lower wings that need a little attention, but other than that, they're basically damage free.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, cool. Those things are just small, little. That's pretty cool. And then the bottom wings there.
yep. There's really nothing to do on those other than clean them and cover them.
Yeah.
A few tiny little tidy up items like these. Again, this was a little fairing that was put on for a strut fairing that comes in here,
Mm-hmm.
and these were just sheet metal screws, and over the years you can see
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
augered out.
You can put
So-
some anchor nuts in.
Yep,
Yeah.
put some actual anchor nuts and clean that all up. So it's because you take them off every year when you inspect it, so they get wore out.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So
Have we bought any fabric yet?
I haven't bought any yet, but I
Okay.
have sent a drawing to my fabric supplier from Belle Plaine. The lower wings and all the small stuff is covered just in a blanket process. The upper wings you have to sew a blanket because the fabric only comes in, I think it's 70 inches or 72
Mhm.
inch width.
Yeah.
And so it's not wide enough to go all the way trailing edge to leading edge.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
have to go the other way. And
Yeah.
so if you measure it out so you can have your seams that lay on a rib, that's
Yeah.
going to look a lot nicer. that
Yeah,
way.
cool.
So and then he gets the fabric, sends it out to a person that sews that. So anyway, that's not going to be a hold up or anything.
Good. And you had some kind of special person that you had come across that was a fabric guy. He's still around?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Okay, so he's still on board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good.
So
Oh, this is exciting. Yeah. I mean, whatever you think is, we got it apart. Let's do what we need to do and do it right. So this all pretty straightforward then. So there's really not a lot of repairs or anything that are left. It's basically
no, pretty much everything on that rack, with the exception of the ailerons, that was all brand new construction.
uh-huh.
Really no issues whatsoever. Just a little cleanup time.
Where's the sponsors?
I have those sitting on top of the paint booth, so they're
Oh.
not getting bumped into.
Awesome. Is there any inspection or anything that has been going on, like in the fuselage yet, or you just been mainly focusing on all the?
Just
Structural
almost
stuff.
all right here.
Huh.
From the time the hull, we just cleaned it up, and it's really been butted on that. So
Are there any? Because I guess anything like hoses and any of that kind of stuff, that's all extraneous to that. So there's really no. I mean, we need to replace all the rubber and all that kind of stuff this time around.
there's really it's all aluminum tubing as far as the hydraulic system goes inside.
Uh-huh.
So there's really nothing to worry about there. Brake hoses were replaced over in Europe. They're still really good. So there really shouldn't be anything needed on the hull other than a little touch-up paint and give it a good cleaning.
Good. And all the wiring was new, so.
Yep. I was just gonna ask you too if you're thinking about using the same strobe lights, same radio stuff, because that all goes in before we cover it,
Yeah.
the cables and stuff.
I mean, originally didn't have strobe lights.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I don't see myself flying this thing at night.
Yeah, I guess probably not.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't really have them. I'm like, is there a way to just kind of leave it wired, but like hide them?
Well, I'll show you.
Put them on, put them off, you know, if you wanted to.
Dude, I think I've only landed it at night once or twice.
Oh, really? But on the runway?
Yeah.
This is where the strobe light hooks to.
Oh, I see.
So when you cover it, it's it's big
Right.
and gonna be there.
Yeah, okay.
So if you felt that you weren't gonna ever want them or
Right.
use them, we'd cut that off and smooth that off.
Yeah.
This is for the Grimes nav light.
Yeah, which would have been on there.
So.
So what's the legal requirement for flying at night? Now you got to have something that flashes,
You
right?
gotta have a strobe light.
But you could stick it anywhere on the airplane,
Yeah.
right? Doesn't have to be on the wingtips. They're out of there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want those. And then we'll if I decide I want to fly at night, we'll stick something on the you know, somewhere else.
They're back on the trailer.
They are on top of one of the, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Let's think about someplace where we could put it that would be unobtrusive.
There's you know, some neat options these days with LED strobe type stuff too that takes, you know, very minimal power, and they're kind of some smaller things too.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
an antique strobe would be what, from the 60s, so they're going to match for this.
right. So yeah.
No, when the hell would they ever want to fly it at night anyway?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure why they ever have to put them on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and if we hadn't of, like, if I was doing this, you know, not to make this a bigger project than it was, but, you know, I go ahead and, you know, we stayed with the engines and all that, but originally just had the 1340s with the fixed bladed props. And I mean, quite honestly, that's the way I would have done the airplane. I mean, I fly a tri-motor with 3 engines that are exactly like this with fixed pitch props. So, you know, I mean, if you lose an engine, I think, would you say it was like 8,500 feet or something was the single engine service ceiling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's great, but the reality is, shit, they flew this thing, not this one, but the paint job flew all over Africa, all the way for frickin' years, and they never had a problem. So anyway, and I'm pretty much going to fly it in Florida. And anyway, we'll see. But since it's hooked up that way, I mean, I'm thinking if at some point I ever put that much time on it, if I can find them, I've got one engine I'm going to put in my Lockheed Vega, but I don't know how many more might be out there. But ultimately, I mean, I would like to have those engines. And at some point, I'll just get my guys to redo the panel. We'll put all the original instruments back in and stuff, you know, and make it. You know, I'm not looking for a frickin' IFR flat across the pond airplane, but anyway.
I think we only filed twice with them.
Really?
Yeah. Once just to get out of Oshkosh,
Yeah.
and we were heading to Vegas with them.
Cool.
I've seen some,
Did you actually fly it punch it in the clouds, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, then you need the feather and props.
We climbed up.
Oh God,
We
too
were headed
cool.
to Brent and I started out for Florida with it, but we never made it. Did you send the props? Are they going to get redone? You tell them they're going to put that plug in right this time?
I'll make sure and seal it up good this time.
Good. Oh, so you had a problem on the last round?
They when they overhauled them in 2000, the little tapered plug that seals the blade,
Huh.
engine oil pressure, wasn't seated.
Yeah, the brown's kind of going. We're going to touch that up a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, that's something we got to look at. That paint was actually just again to hurry up and get it done.
Really? Okay.
It was just an enamel that was put on there with an airbrush.
Wing goes there though, so.
Yeah, the wing covers that whole
Huh.
kind of right there. So it's
Too
a lot of the ones in the front. Tom had them repainted over in Germany actually.
Too cool. I've talked to Tom, but I haven't really, I haven't seen him in a while. I went to, he got me hooked up with those Scaleria guys over in Austria. He had it there for one of their shows, and they called him and said, "Hey Tom, will you bring the airplane back?" And he said, "Well, I sold it, you know, to this guy Kermit Weeks." And I said, "Well, he'll bring it." "Well, the airplane's over in the States, blah, blah, blah." And so he said, "Well, you're welcome to come over." And he kind of mentioned my name, and I said, "Well, bring him over." And God, they just treated me like a king, and oh my God, what a beautiful place. I mean, this thing over there just would have been a massive hit. And Iron Dornier had his big 3-engine, you know, Dornier boat there, you know, so that was awesome. I got to go flying in that.
Well, we could finish it up, put it back in the box, and set
Send it back to Amsterdam. God, I just can't get over how big this damn wing is. Oh my God! And plus it sits so high too.
Yeah.
Yes. So have you heard anything from the engine guy? I mean, I haven't called him.
No, I haven't heard from him for probably like a month.
Really? Well, I haven't heard. I think anyway, we need to. Are they like in line there to have something done, or?
They had actually one of them was ready to go back together last time I talked to them.
Oh, so they're actually working on them. They're actually in the line.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
cool. Okay,
yeah.
great. Oh, that's good. Okay.
So I can give them a call on Monday just to check up
Yeah.
on, let you know where they're at.
Yeah. So the engines were out. The props are going to be sent out, or
Yep,
they're out.
They're out. They're
Okay.
up in Minneapolis at Maxwell Propeller, and they have I believe it's a 5-year AD on those. Every 5 years, you're supposed to
Yeah,
disassemble them, check
right.
for corrosion and stuff.
So they'll sign that off when we put them on, or
When
when
we
you're
get-
ready to put them
yeah.
on. Yeah. Okay,
So right
cool.
now they do hundreds of those propellers up
Yeah,
there. So
great.
they have them all taken apart. I've seen them. They're all disassembled and laying there all cleaned up, ready to go back together. But he'll wait to put them together till we're ready for them. Otherwise, that AD starts ticking.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Cool.
you know.
Good. Yeah. Let me check this out here. That's interesting. This is actually on the wrong side compared to my S-43 and my S-39. Mine are over here on that side. You sure you got this on the right side?
Pretty sure.
Oh man, I love this thing. This is so cool. What a way to travel. It needs to be cleaned up inside quite a bit, but you know, the wicker seats, the little cabinet. This is just too cool. Of course, the Martin and Osa Johnson had an S-39 painted in the draft colors, like what I have already a Fantasy Flight that I'm flying. And then this airplane paint job they also had. So they took the S-39 and the S-38, took them apart, shipped them down to Cape Town, South Africa, put them together. They had some Sikorsky factory pilots, although Martin and Osa both were pilots. And but they focused on the photography and all that kind of stuff. And Boris Sergeyevsky, I think, was one of the pilots. I think flying the S-38 for them. Anyway, they ended up meandered their way up from Cape Town, South Africa, up to Nairobi. They based out of Nairobi for about 2 years and did a lot of documentary photography of the animals, the natives, the plight of the animals, and it was just fascinating. They would they did like 2 years over there in Africa, and then went back, developed all their film. I think they had a lab actually that they actually had carried with them, and they ended up going around the country. They would do tours in movie theaters, or they would do talks. They would show their film footage, and it was at a time in the early 30s, 31, 32 and stuff, that they the world was still there was undiscovered parts, and Deepest Darkest Africa was one where they actually people had never seen films of pygmies and some of the animals and the great herds on the plains and stuff, and actually not only seeing it from the ground but actually film it from the air. I think this airplane was the first airplane of theirs, the S-38, to fly over Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kenya, and after at the end of the 2 years they headed up north, went up the Nile, past all the pyramids, and all the Egyptian ruins, and went up there. Eventually ended up in England, shipped the airplanes back, and then started their tour showing their documentary footage. They were probably the original environmental documentary photographers, and at a time when the world was hungering for this exploration and stuff. The world still hadn't been exposed to it to that degree. They also had done some time with this airplane, which I think is where it was lost in New Guinea, and they would fly around in New Guinea and deal with the natives there, headhunters and stuff. Martin and Osa had been down there before, but without the airplanes. I don't know too much about when they were in New Guinea with the airplanes, but one or the other were actually down there. So this is so cool. They've actually kind of done this up in a way that kind of has a bit of an African feel to it in the back. It's kind of neat. It even comes complete with a couple of pith helmets back there. And it's my understanding that they can actually undo this and slide it forward and stand up here while it's flying. They got the wind courses blowing in your face, but they use it for photography, and you know, you probably got a nice big view here looking out this way. Of course, it's got to be below the booms. And these guys are flying along in formation right now. We're taking pictures. Too cool. So everything's pretty much in here except for the floats, you said, huh?
Yep, floats are on top of the paint.
Good.
Just out arm's way. The other thing I was going to haul over to have blasted is the wing struts. They're all a lot of them are aluminum tubes, pretty thick tubes.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of old paint on them.
Yeah.
I'll just have them blast them off, and we'll repaint them, make them like new again.
And what do you do with the insides?
The insides were actually treated with linseed oil when we assembled them, so there should be no issues in there.
Okay, good.
That was all brand new materials when we built the plane in 2000.
Cool. Do they have like riveted ends on them, or?
They're big aluminum plugs with a 3/16 bolt.
But they were all sealed, and there's still oil inside of them.
Yep.
Oh, they should be fine.
Yep, they're all coated with that
Yeah.
oil. So.
Yeah, great.
And the outsides don't even show any signs of any corrosion. It just would be nice to clean them up. And then those are all wrapped with that sheet metal fairing, airstream fairing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have them take the paint off of those too and make them like brand new again.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the deal is the airplane has been in the salt water, so that's something that we really want to pay attention to and look at. And
Yep.
so, so how much of the hull can you get in and inspect?
The hull actually has a lot of big openings underneath the carpet. There are big openings you can get right down in there and see
Cool.
every compartment. And a couple of times that it was in the salt water, it was immediately rinsed out with fresh water. So I don't even think it ever spent one night without being washed.
The day we were out there shooting the movie.
Yeah. The Aviator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were done about, it was we were there 3 days.
Yeah.
So then when we came back in, but then we were on the ocean water in Ventura Beach.
Oh yeah, cool. Good.
So then we came back in and Brent took it all, we took out all those pieces there and we washed it all out.
We rinsed it all out, filled it up with fresh water, pumped it out a couple times.
Yep.
Then after the movie was made, we brought it back, it came back here, and then I treated everything with LPS3 underneath. So, you know, I haven't been in there recently, but the last time I was in there, everything was like brand new.
Good.
So.
And I forgive me, I can't remember how this was painted in the movie. They put some movie paint on it? It wasn't like this, was it?
No, we had them put that 3M film.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it was all gray.
Okay.
Yeah, they just,
Cool.
in fact that it was so good, it kind of even took off a couple of pieces, and then Brent had to repaint a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, if we can, this all looks pretty good. You know, and touch up the brown a little bit.
It's a little bit faded. It's just not as good of a paint as the urethane that Whipper put on.
Huh.
But it's
Was that put on second or?
the white was on. It was.
Yeah. Okay.
The white was underneath.
Yep.
Whipper painted the white and the black up at their big paint shop up in the cities.
Yeah.
The brown, because at the time they weren't really sure what paint scheme they were going to do. So when they decided, okay, we're going to do the zebra paint scheme, then we got that responsibility
That
here.
looks
We
great.
actually laid it all out. I had a picture that I kind of scaled using measurements off of screws and just kind of try to make it as exact as we could. And I used electrical tape, laid it all out. The whole thing was electrical tape, and then stood back and looked at it and okay, we got to adjust it a little bit or whatever. But that's how they got there.
Great. Well, you do realize that every zebra is not probably exact. It's like a fingerprint, you know.
Yep.
Well,
So we
cool.
tried to duplicate it best we could.
Okay, so basically the plan is we'll go ahead and focus on these outboard panels, to just get them blasted and work on them in the wintertime to cover in the spring. But the center section and the booms, and you think all the other tail feathers we'll do before winter sets in?
That's what my
Okay,
goal
good.
is.
Okay, great.
It's not as important that we get the tail done as much as the center section, obviously.
Yeah, because you start assembling it to as soon as spring, or even in the wintertime.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
wintertime it could be getting set together.
Yeah.
And that's kind
Okay.
of what I wanted to accomplish,
Okay.
was to be able to put the center section up in the winter, be able to hang the engines, because that's 90% of your work is in that area.
Right.
You go to bolt the wings on, it's just four
Yeah.
bolts and a couple struts.
So you're going to call the engine guy on Monday and just kind of see where they're at, because even if you had one engine, you could be working on that while he's finishing up the other one.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. We can get caught up with him and see where he's at. But
Yeah, because they haven't asked me for a deposit or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe they just trust me.
Well, hopefully they still got him. So, no, I'm sure they're fine.
Good.
So. But yeah, so we'll concentrate on getting this so it's ready to cover, get it up, covered and up on the airplane this winter. Get all that reading and plumbing and electrical all done. We'll remove all the components for the strobe light cables. All
Yeah.
back
Okay.
out. And the other thing, I guess, was to decide on if you're going to use the same avionics.
Yeah, let me look there. I mean, I would say for now, let's just keep it simple. And like I said,
It's a really nice setup.
yeah. Let's keep it like this. Let me fly it the way it is. I probably won't do anything, but at some point, I've got the option that my guys can, we can change the panel and, but the reality is, I got so damn many projects that, shit, am I ever going to get to this? We'll see. I got way too many projects.
The only thing that we need to decide on, really, I mean, that's all can be changed whenever, but the coaxial cables that are for the comm antennas.
Yeah.
And that, we'll just put all that back.
Put
the way
all
it
that
was.
stuff back the way it was.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.